live on YouTube on Didirati. You can also join me live on Citizen FM Abuja and just check through for news across Africa today. That's where we're streaming right now. So let's get into it very quickly. Let's begin with stories coming in from Libya of North Africa. U.S. Embassy in Tripoli have outrightly denied reports that there is a planned relocation of Palestinians to Libya. So they're saying that's not true. Wherever that news came out from, please, you people should not even take it seriously at all. Just ignore, and one more time, ignore. So it was yesterday that a report made the rounds that the U.S. government was working on a plan to relocate Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Libya. NBC News reported earlier that the Trump administration is working on a plan to permanently relocate as many as 1 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Libya. And they even cited 5 people with knowledge of the matter, including 2 people with direct knowledge and a former U.S. official. So is this true? No, that's what they are saying. They're saying, whatever you hear, take it with a pinch of salt. Not just a pinch, take it with a full bag of salt. So, the report, this is what the U.S. Embassy said on X platform regarding the matter. Is quoted as saying, the report of alleged plans to relocate Gazans to Libya is untrue. Straight and simple. Remember that Trump had reportedly previously said that he would like the U.S. to take over the Gaza Strip and its Palestinian population would be relocated elsewhere. Yeah, all these are removed to see that plan come to light. And so the Tripoli-based internationally recognized government of national unity was not available for immediate comments, though, at the time that we got this report. But Palestinians have vehemently rejected any plan that involves them leaving Gaza. They said that is their home and that's where they would be. In fact, they went on to compare the idea of relocating them from Gaza to other parts of the world as something that happened in 1948, Nakba, or catastrophe, when hundreds of thousands of people were dispossessed of their homes in the war that led to the creation of Israel. So these people know their history and they're saying history would not repeat itself. Now, remember that when Trump first floated his idea after he became president in February, he said he wanted U.S. allies, Egypt and Jordan, to take in people from Gaza. But remember that I kept you updated. We saw how the Egyptian government as well as the people of Jordan vehemently rejected the idea. And that actually drew global condemnation. I mean, the entire move of moving Palestinians away from Gaza, it has drawn widespread condemnation. In April of this year, 2025, Donald Trump said that Palestinians could be removed around to different countries. And he was even quoted as saying, you have plenty of countries that will do that. But is the plenty of countries that we are yet to see? Because so far so good. A lot of countries are saying, no, we don't want to be a part of it. During a trip to Qatar just over the course of last week, President Trump reiterated his desire to take over the territory. And he said that he wanted to see it become a freedom zone. That's what he calls it, freedom zone. And that there was nothing left to save. So they might as well just bring it down and do something else with the area. President Trump had reportedly said before now that he wants to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East. That's what he tagged it, the Riviera of the Middle East. From Libya, the Prime Minister Abdulhamid Al-Dibeiba said over the weekend that eliminating militias is an ongoing project. There's a ceasefire now recorded after deadly clashes remained in place. In fact, this was what the Prime Minister said. He said, we will not spare anyone who continues to engage in corruption or extortion. Our goal is to create a Libya free of militias and corruption. It was in a televised broadcast that he made the statement, and he said they are not going easy on any group that decides to turn itself into a problem for the country. Well, Dbeiba is the country's internationally recognized leader in the West, and that is based in Tripoli. Now, after Dbeiba on Tuesday ordered the armed groups to be dismantled, Tripoli was rocked by, some very fierce clashes between two armed groups, and about 8 civilians were killed, according to reports from the United Nations. And so, following that, the government announced a ceasefire because of the killings that happened 2 days earlier. Chief Abdul Ghani Kikli, widely known as Ganiwa, and the sudden defeat of the Stabilization Support Apparatus Group by factions also was considered to be in alignment with Dbeiba's call for crushing militia groups in the country. FM 93.7. We're taking the story from Libya still. Well, the PM's media office posted a video of Dbeiba greeting the security force protecting the Prime Ministry building, and then it said that he later received delegations from elders to discuss Tripoli's situation and what he called successful security operation in Abdul Salim. The Prime Minister also stressed that the operation falls within the state's fixed vision to eliminate armed formations outside the police and army institutions. Well, that's what the media office said. Just shortly before the weekend, it was particularly on Friday that 3 ministries resigned in sympathy with hundreds of protesters who took to the streets calling for the ousting of Dbeiba, who is the country's prime minister. Now let's head on to South Africa, where we're hearing that Vodacom annual profit has grown marginally, though it's actually the biggest mobile operator in South Africa. And according to report, they said that there's been a marginal rise in annual earnings on a stronger second half performance, but the gains were capped by significant currency volatility. It's not just in Nigeria that we're facing our own share of currency volatility. It's also a thing in South Africa, and that's also affecting the market. But we know right now that Vodacom, that is mostly owned by UK-based Vodafone, has said this is headline earnings per share, and that rose by 1.3% to 857 cents in the year ended. That was March 31, and that rose from 846 cents a year earlier. It declared a final dividend of 335 cents per one single share. Cool stuff, right? Well, the CEO was quoted as saying, given significant currency volatility, I am particularly impressed with the strong finish that the group produced in the last 6 months, supporting the confidence we communicated in November last year that the organization is poised for a stronger second half performance. That was what Shamil Jusub, who was CEO of Vodacom, had to say. And the group's service revenue also dipped by 0.1% in Rand terms. That's the currency they use in South Africa, Rand. To south, from Libya up north to South Africa in southern Africa. Let's head on now to Gabon, where the ousted president has flown to Angola with his family. So the report has it that former President Ali Bongo has flown to Angola with his wife and his son. They've been freed almost 2 years after being detained following a coup. Remember when international organizations were calling for the release of former President Ali Bongo? Well, the Angolan presidency has confirmed that they are in Angola. In fact, this was what the presidency was quoted as saying. It said the families were welcomed for humanitarian reasons. Luis Fernando was quoted as saying they will then decide what they want to do. In other words, which country they want to go and live in as exiles. That's part of the quote. So first of all, it's just an exciting story that they've been released after 2 years in captivity, and the presidency also posted photos that it said showed Bongo arriving in Luanda Airport. It said that the family had been freed after diplomatic representatives from Angola, intervened in the situation. Silva Bongo, that's the wife, and his son Nureddin were taken into custody shortly after the 2023 coup, and they were accused of crimes including embezzlement and money laundering, and they were transferred to house arrest on May 9. Two sources familiar with the case reported that they had most recently been held in basement cells in the presidential palace in Libreville. Wow, what a time they had. Not like a chill time, like a stressful time. Well, Ali Bongo, the former president, was initially placed under house arrest after the coup, and though officials later said that he was free to move as he wished, his supporters said that those reports were true. But what we know now is that all that is behind them. They've moved on, they're now in Angola, and going forward, they have freedom to move to whatever country they want to go to and live as exiles. Citizen FM 93.7. We're looking at news across Africa. From Gabon, let's head on to Ghana, where we're hearing that the government is making moves to acquire land for cocoa plantation. 200,000 hectares. That's what's in the talks. 200,000 hectares. That's what the Ghana government is planning to acquire to grow cocoa. The two cocoa producer, and they've seen output fall to a 2-decade low. But, because of climate change issues, they also recorded tree disease issues, and illegal gold mining has also destroyed swaths in its cocoa belt. So Ghana's Ministry of Finance said in a statement on X, that's a former Twitter, that the government would acquire cocoa land to complement existing smallholder farmer operations and also ensure sustainable growth in the sector. Talk about making the right moves. I mean, do you know the positive impact that would bring to the economy? The minister, who serves on a regulator board, also stressed the need for bold interventions to address the sharp decline in cocoa production. If you follow the story, it has actually fallen from a peak of 1 million metric tons to about only 500,000 tons in recent years. Burkina Faso is next in the news. And no, it is not about Captain Traore. It is about former President Thomas Sankara. Pritzker Prize-winning architect Francis Kere designed a memorial in Ouagadougou in tribute to Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara is a revolutionary leader. If you've not heard about him, I don't know why. Well, the story is that Thomas Sankara's mausoleum opens to honor the revolutionary leader. Just to give you, backstory, just in case you don't know. He was assassinated alongside his 12 aides the same year. And this mausoleum stands on the side of the Conseil de l'Inter area of the country. And the mausoleum is about 70 meters high. It is designed in the shape of an eye with descending steps representing the 13 fallen martyrs. Remember, he was killed alongside 12 of his aides. That makes a total of 13. Yeah, so the mausoleum, 13 fallen martyrs. And the site is what people who have been there describe as a bold tribute to the revolution's triumph over imperialism. And just in case you don't know. So it says that it's a site for collective consciousness of Burkinabe, of freedom fighters, and of all those who cherish peace and social justice. It's also representation of the sacrifice made by President Thomas Sankara and his aides. So this mausoleum also bears witness to a persecuted but enduring